The Galactic Council's transmission crackled through the aging speakers of Earth's Unity Station. Isabel Chen, Director of Interstellar Relations, stood frozen as the holographic projection materialized before her. Director Chen, the Valorian ambassador's voice, carried the weight of desperation. The Kreth Empire has decimated our outer colonies. 40,000 civilians are fleeing on generational ships. They need sanctuary. Temporary camps, basic provisions, anything you can offer. Isabel exchanged glances with Eric Morrison, her chief of operations. His weathered face betrayed no emotion, but she knew him well enough to see the wheels turning behind those steady eyes. How long until they arrive? Isabel asked. 72 hours, Director. We understand this is unprecedented. We've already contacted the Zenthiri Confederacy and the Plaxian Commonwealth. They're preparing internment facilities. Internment facilities. The words hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Eric leaned forward. Ambassador, we'll get back to you within the hour. As the hologram faded, Isabel slumped into her chair. 40,000 people. Eric, the Council will expect us to follow protocol quarantine zones, background checks that take months, resource allocation committees. Since when do humans follow protocol? Eric's lip curled into something between a smile and a snarl. We wrote the book on doing things our own way. Isabel pulled up the refugee data on her terminal. Families, scientists, teachers, children who'd watched their worlds burn. The Galactic Council's standard procedure would stuff them into sterile camps for months, maybe years, while bureaucrats debated their fate. Call an emergency session, Isabel said quietly. All department heads, and get me the president. 48 hours later, Isabel stood in the observation deck of Unity Station, watching the first Valorian refugee ship enter Earth's orbital space. Behind her, the station buzzed with controlled chaos. Eric appeared at her shoulder, tablet in hand. Final count, 41,247 refugees. We're ready. The Council is going to lose their minds, Isabel muttered. Let them. Eric's grin was fierce. We're human. We specialize in the impossible. The previous 2 days had been a masterclass in organized pandemonium. While other species spent weeks in committee meetings, Earth's government had moved with startling efficiency. The president had invoked emergency integration protocols, a legal framework created decades ago but never used. Congress had passed the Valorian Citizenship Act in a rare show of unanimous agreement. Cities across Earth had volunteered housing, jobs, schools, but the real miracle was happening in the minds of ordinary people. News of the refugee crisis had spread across Earth's networks like wildfire. Within hours, millions of humans had mobilized. Teachers volunteered to learn Valorian language and culture. Doctors studied Valorian physiology. Families opened their homes. Corporations offered employment. Universities prepared scholarship programs. The Galactic Council had expected camps. Humanity was offering home. Incoming transmission from the Valorian lead ship, a technician announced. A hologram flickered to life, a Valorian woman, her crystalline features etched with exhaustion and fear. Her skin shimmered with the faint blue luminescence characteristic of her species. Unity Station, this is Captain Sereth of the refugee vessel Distant Hope. We're prepared for processing. Where should we direct our ships for the quarantine facilities? Isabel stepped forward. Captain Serath, there are no quarantine facilities. You're not going to camps. Confusion rippled across the Valorian's face. I don't understand. The standard protocol. We're human, Captain. We don't do standard protocol. Isabel's voice softened. You've been through hell. You've lost your homes, your worlds. We're not going to make you wait in limbo while we decide if you're worthy of basic dignity. Eric tapped his tablet, and data streamed to the refugee ship. We've prepared integration packages for each of your ships. Housing assignments, employment opportunities, educational enrollment for the children, full citizenship rights, effective immediately. You'll have sponsors, human families and organizations who will help you navigate Earth culture and society. Captain Sereth's luminescence flickered the Valorian equivalent of tears. This is impossible. The legal requirements alone would take months. The resource allocation, the political debates took us about 16 hours of debate. Actually, Eric interjected. Turns out when you cut through the bureaucratic nonsense and remember you're dealing with people, decisions get made pretty fast. But why? Sereth's voice cracked. Your species barely knows us. We have no trade agreements, no treaties, no mutual defense pacts. We offer you nothing. Isabel thought of her grandmother, who'd fled war-torn Korea with nothing but the clothes on her back. She thought of Eric's great-grandfather who'd survived the Holocaust. She thought of the countless humans throughout history who'd been refugees, displaced, desperate. Because your people, Isabel said simply. Because you're scared and tired and you need help. That's enough. That's always been enough. Sereth's hologram wavered as she composed herself. The other species will think you're mad. They already do, Eric said cheerfully. We climbed out of the gravity well of our planet using controlled explosions. We turned atom-splitting weapons into power sources. We looked at space and said, yeah, we belong there. Sanity is relative. Welcome to Earth, Captain, Isabel said. Welcome home. 6 months later, Isabel found herself in a small park in New Seattle, attending a celebration. Valorian and human children played together on the equipment, their laughter a universal language. She spotted Captain Sarath now, Dr. Sarath, having secured a position at the University of Washington, chatting with a group of human colleagues. Eric joined her on the bench, handing her a coffee. The Galactic Council released their official statement today. Let me guess, we violated 17 different protocols and set a dangerous precedent. 23 protocols, actually, but here's the interesting part. Eric pulled up the report on his tablet. 12 other species have begun drafting similar rapid integration laws. The Zenthari are calling it the human doctrine. Isabel sipped her coffee, watching a Valorian father teach his daughter to ride a bicycle, a human neighbor steadying the seat. Think it'll catch on? Maybe, maybe not. Eric shrugged. But we proved something. We proved that compassion doesn't have to be slow. That bureaucracy is a choice, not an inevitability. That sometimes the most practical solution is also the most humane one. A young Valorian boy ran up to them, his skin shimmering with excitement. Ms. Chen, Mr. Morrison, my mom says I can try out for the school soccer team. Can humans and Valorians play on the same team? Isabel smiled. Of course you can. Why wouldn't you? The boy grinned and ran off, leaving the two humans alone again. 41,000 citizens in 48 hours, Eric mused. The accountants are still having nightmares. Worth it, Isabel said quietly. Yeah, Eric agreed. Yeah, it really was. Above them, the stars gleamed in Earth's sky, the same stars that had once seemed so distant, so foreign. But humans had never been good at accepting distance or foreignness. They reached out. They welcomed. They built bridges where others saw only gaps. That it was what made them human, that it was what made them extraordinary.